Hello and good football to all. I am your host, Ryan. With me are AJ, our stats guy, our resident Patriots hater, Jeff, and Colt, our fantasy oracle. On this podcast, we talk football and only football, so help us God. We are in week 11, ladies and gentlemen, and our topic this week, as always, is football. So, gentlemen, shall we football?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Ooh, that was more enthusiastic than most times. Good
Yes,
start,
I'm very
fellas.
excited.
I like that a lot. Okay, we have quite a bit to go over from week 10 before we jump into the week 11 previews. So let's do a little review with our biggest surprise of the week. We're going to call this segment starting today, What the Hell Happened? I've decided I'm going to go first in this one. So, what the hell happened with the Tennessee Titans? The Colts came in to Nashville at LP Field and absolutely took the Titans to the woodshed. That's my biggest surprise of the week. I did not see Phillip Rivers having himself a 300-yard, one touchdown, no interception day against that Titans defense. And I especially didn't see that running game for the Colts doing as well as they did against the Titans. Ryan Tannehill really struggled, 15 of 27, 147, only one score. Derrick Henry stayed out of the end zone. That's my what the hell happened to the week. AJ, what the hell happened in your week 10?
What the hell did happen? It's our week 10. And Jeff, what the hell happened? The Patriots beat the Ravens.
Unbelievable.
I'm blown away.
And it myself.
I have no words.
They somehow cheated somehow.
They control the weather in New England. It was raining sideways in that game on Sunday night.
It's a known fact that they control the weather.
Why did that surprise you so much, AJ?
Well, just based on the trajectory of the Patriots, the momentum seemed so against them. And the Ravens have one of the best rosters in football. And they're playing pretty well. They set a pretty high bar last year. But all in all, they're playing pretty well. There was only scoring in the second and third quarter in this game, by the way. No scoring first quarter or fourth quarter. And the Patriots threw for, let me make sure I'm getting this right. In total, they threw for 135 yards with 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was Jacoby Myers for 24 yards through the air and not on the receiving end. Cam Newton, 13 of 17, though. He had a 75.6 QBR, took 1 sack, no interceptions, and no fumbles. Really cool. The Ravens, on the other hand, I remember we talked about this, the fumbles against the Steelers. It turns out they're not done. Now, they recovered all 3, but that can stop a drive dead in its tracks, even if you get the fumble back. And clearly, they're still having issues because Matt Stafford was a part of all these fumbles, and that's the Ravens center. I don't really have an explanation for this.
To be fair, the weather was not – I don't think inclement does it justice.
Torrential. Well, the Patriots didn't have a single fumble. So.
Well, they were ready for it. They knew the weather was coming because they control it.
They do.
Not correct.
It is correct. It's a known fact, AJ.
Bill Belichick was dialing up the rain. Cam Newton, with his gigantic hands, held onto the football. That really did save the Patriots season and an opportunity to still win that division, as improbable as that may seem.
Indeed.
Jeff, what is your what the hell happened this week?
My what the hell happened this week was the Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans. The Cleveland Browns running as much as they ran to only score 10 points against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that Texans defense is not good. And the Browns had 2 guys go for over 100 yards.
That game was so inexplicable.
Yeah, it was really boring to watch, too.
That's Big Ten football, gentlemen. That is Big Ten football. Can't take that Texas Big 12 offense up there to the Big Ten country and expect to win.
Well, Nick Chubb ran that really long run and then stepped out at the 1 yard line instead of getting the score.
That was smart. That was smart, though, because he didn't even want to put the ball back in Watson's hands to give him a chance.
Smart, very smart.
I didn't have Nick Chubb, so I don't really care.
I was just thinking that too, right?
Yeah, I don't either. I don't have him anywhere, but I probably would have been tilting when I saw him just tiptoe on the sideline there.
Yeah, that Browns offense has really got to start doing things. When we do our week previews here in just a few minutes, I've got a Browns stat that's just going to kind of blow your mind a little bit.
All right, I'll leave it then. I was going to go to the stat
foreshadowing.
board for this. I'll let you do your thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go with Colt. What the hell happened this week?
What the hell happened? Mine's going to be a little obscure to the fact that this was a much closer game than I thought. Alex Smith leading the potential comeback drive. I believe he threw for 394 yards in this game.
390, buddy.
390.
So proud of that man. I'm sure you are.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. I mean, it was just incredible I didn't watch all this game. I chimed into it a little bit here and there, but yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with the comeback from him. He still looks a little uncomfortable out there, kind of happy feet. I mean, understandably so, but
It's amazing
think,
his feet can be happy right now.
I know, right? So I think better things are to come for the Washington football team. Their defense didn't really show up. Chase Young got that really bad rough in the passer, man. You can't do that at that juncture in the game. And
young player.
Yeah, he was hungry, man. He wasn't able to get back there all day. He saw a shot. He was like, you know what? But yeah, I was really impressed with Alex Smith, and I wish they'd have pulled it out. But old Matty Prater, he put up, what was his final kick? Was that a 60-yarder?
It was 50, deep. Let's see. 59.
59, yeah, to win the game. Now, the Lions are notorious for losing these type games, and I had a feeling that he would miss the kick overtime and watch them get the win. But, hey, good for the Lions, you know. Also, I like to see DeAndre Swift. The coaching staff, Patricia, said, hey, he's our featured guy. We're going to come out and use him. And they actually did it. And
yeah, 16 carries, 81 yards in that game.
He was a star. So
he's going to be a very good player for quite a while until his legs give out like all running backs do.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford, torn ligament in his throwing hand, I believe, in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No one touched on this, so can I just throw in the fact that the Jags hung in with the Packers?
Absolutely, yeah.
That was
that's a big time
pick,
surprise.
Man.
Yeah, and
that was my other pick.
Yeah, Jeff Luton didn't do really anything. 169 yards, touchdown, and a pick. The running back had a good day at 109 yards. I mean, they scored 20 points against Green Bay, which, you know, that Packers defense has been susceptible at points this season. But that Packers offense didn't do anything against a very suspect Jacksonville defense.
Right. Now, to be fair, some of the things you might have missed if you didn't watch the game, Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers had a touchdown called back by penalty. James Robinson had 2 touchdowns called back by penalties, holding. What else? In the top 2 corners for Green Bay were inactive.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Right. But The Jags, I watched a lot of that game too. They came to play, man. They were swarming to the ball. Like they looked. It seemed to me throughout the entirety of the first quarter that Green Bay was playing down to their opponent.
These are professional football players. If you don't come with your chin strapped up, they're going to come out and beat you.
Yeah.
As evidenced by the Jets almost doing it to the Patriots last week. 2 weeks ago? I don't know how we want to frame that. In week 9, they did that.
Yeah. Yep.
How about the Giants and the Eagles game? I know we kind of split picks on that one, I think.
We didn't. We didn't.
Did we
It was
not?
a
Did
shock. We were all
did we all
wrong.
go Eagles on that one?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Actually, speaking of this, in the background of my room, I just turned around and they were showing Danny Jones getting eaten by the turf monster.
Oh no.
Oh no. You know, surprisingly in that game, no turnovers.
That is
Right?
weird.
No turnovers in that game. The Eagles.
Daniel Jones has been playing some pretty careful football lately. And
Yeah.
to that fact, I was really borderline about to pick the Giants last week because I feel like their offense is doing pretty good. He's taking care of the ball. Gallman, they're getting a good bit of running out of him. I mean, the defense is
Daniel
pretty
Jones
sound.
He was 21 of 28. He was efficient with the football. He threw for 245 yards, something like that.
Ran for a TD, did not fall.
Yeah. I mean, good for him. Staying on 2 feet, not letting his big ass helmet get in front of his feet. But yeah, that was a very evenly played game. As far as first downs go, they both had 22 first downs. Yardage was pretty similar, but the Giants found the end zone one more time and had an extra field goal, and that got them that 10-point win.
Yeah, you're right. Danny Jones was 21 of 28.
Yeah.
And he ran the ball 9 times, and obviously that 34-yard run took up a huge chunk of it, but still.
Philly's offense looks really bad, though. I feel like Miles Sanders was the lone bright spot in this game for them offensively.
Yeah, they're not very good. The Dolphins are continuing to score points without a huge statistical output from really anyone on their offense.
If you're looking for justification, I was gonna say I don't have any. Let me take a look here. So I watched a little bit of that game, and I wanted to say Tua played. Tua was 15 of 25 for 169 and 2 touchdowns. He had a QBR of 65. Right, he had a QBR of 65.6. That's like unimpressive.
It's pretty average. Pretty average. They didn't have a running back over 100 yards. They held on to the football. He did look good. He had 85 yards.
He looked a lot like Myles Gaskin out there. Kind of cut from the same mold.
Yeah. Time of possession was damn near equal. It's tough to find a differentiation in the stat lines of those teams. I honestly didn't get a chance to watch any of that game, so I don't know what it looked like.
I think the biggest difference maker is the Dolphins' defense.
They just come up. I mean, there are some defenses genuinely that are built. Notre Dame is one of these. They're built, and the Patriots made a living on this. It's just buckling down once you get inside the red zone.
Bend, don't break.
Bend, don't break is exactly what I'm talking about. And
again,
you know what? Guess where? Where's Brian Flores from?
Is he a Notre Dame guy?
No, he's a Patriots guy.
Oh, yeah.
Patriots guy.
Hey, it's also worth mentioning, too, the game started with defense and a big-time special teams play on a punt block that put the ball on the goal line. So 7-0 in a flash of the eye.
I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention another game. We're a very pro Kyler Murray podcast here. Bills and
Oh,
Cardinals.
yeah,
The
yeah.
finish to that football
We
game.
do have some biases.
Maybe a
that was
bias
wonderful.
here and there.
Yeah, well, a couple. Well, Matty Snapback, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield.
Maybe.
Although you've tempered that a lot, Ryan.
I'm not as vocal about Baker, but I will be wearing my Baker Mayfield ugly Christmas sweater as soon as humanly possible.
Top shelf. And then if you want a good laugh, well, you know what? Our Twitter provides plenty of good laughs, but him quoting a Lil Wayne song,
Yes.
Real G's moving silent like lasagna.
That was amazing.
That tickled me in places it shouldn't have.
Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. How about old Baker Mayfield passing Ben Roethlisberger for the most wins at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland?
Bravo, bravo.
Baker Mayfield now has 12 wins as the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns at home at First Energy Stadium. Ben Roethlisberger, as the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, has 11.
Wow.
Oh.
That is bad.
Did any of us pick the Bills in that game? I know I picked Cardinals.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, one of us did.
We'll get to it.
We'll get into those here in just a second. First, we have to have our Patrick Mahomes Award for Player of the Week because he could win it every single week except this one because he was on a bye last week. My Player of the Week is going to be Alex Smith. You throw the ball, 50 times in his first start in more than 700 days, 55 times, 390 yards, didn't throw a touchdown, didn't throw an interception, lost by 3, but to get out there and start a football game after what he's gone through and to get that football team in a really good position to win a football game and play as well as he did, completing 38 passes, that is more than 10 yards per completion. That is not vintage Alex Smith as he has been known to do in dink and dunk. He was taking some shots and good for Alex Smith getting out there and chucking it around a little bit.
I love that pick. We are a very pro Alex Smith podcast.
Very pro Alex Smith podcast. AJ, do you have anything better for Player of the Week?
I'm sorry, I do, and that's DeAndre Hopkins. If nothing else, than for that game-clinching steal of a catch in the end zone.
Go get it, young fella.
He called for it. He called his shot, Babe Ruth style back there.
Yep.
Triple coverage.
Throw it up. Get after it. What did I say to you right after that play, AJ? Full disclosure, we watched that game in the same room, the end of that game at least. And I told him, I've been thinking this last drive, if it comes down to it, you got Larry Fitzgerald, one of the greatest of all time, and DeAndre Hopkins on each side. Chuck it up, see what happens.
Yeah.
He picked the right guy to chuck it to.
Yeah.
Was that before or after you came out with that turtle?
I think that was before I came out with the turtle. It was before Evan got there. No, it wasn't. It may have been after I came out with the turtle. The turtle was the good luck charm.
Good luck turtle. That's not what its name is. Its name is something else.
If anybody hears Colt laugh here in just a second, it's because I'm just going to send him a picture of the turtle. But that's what I'm doing right now. Jeff, who is your Patrick Mahomes Player of the Week award winner?
Josh Jacobs.
Let's go. Excellent.
Good pick.
Love that pick. I watched a little bit of that game, Jeff, and he looks like an absolute monster, which I know isn't news to you, but people need to see just how good he is.
Devontae Booker had a good game too, man.
Josh Jacobs is phenomenal. He's a Titan, McLean Titan, out of Tulsa, Oklahoma in high school.
Josh Jacobs.
Yes, he is.
Right on. That's why he was only a 3-star coming out.
When he went to Alabama didn't recruit him during football season. They sent a recruiter during basketball season. Saw that young man at whatever his stature is. It's not very tall. go up and throw down over some guys that were a lot taller than he was. And he called Nick Saban pretty immediately and said, we need this guy to play football.
Good call.
Pretty good choice for Josh Jacobs, and a good choice for Jeff's Patrick Mahomes Player of the Week. 2 touchdowns, 112 yards on the day. Good stuff from Tulsa native Josh Jacobs. Colt, who is your Patrick Mahomes Player of the Week award winner, but he couldn't win it because he was on bye this week?
I'm going Big Ben. Didn't practice all week.
Yeah.
Didn't practice all week with a close contact COVID quarantine of sorts. I think he might have thrown about 50 reps on Friday or something. He comes out against a pretty beatable defense, but nonetheless, 27-46, 333 yards, 4 TDs. Claypool had 2. Deontay had 1. Juju had 1. All the boys were fed. They're happy. The only guy who didn't show up was James Conner, which, I think the Steelers are just a passing team now. I think Ben is having a blast, and Tomlin is having a blast with his new toy in Claypool. And I thought Ben had – and he had the 2 suspect knee thing going on. But Ben came out.
Both knees hurt at the same time. It's a miracle he's back playing.
Yep. Doesn't matter.
He's mostly made of, like, hard wood.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
He's comprised mostly of like an oak. I believe.
Yeah, that was a fantastic game from Ben.
That team looks so good in that game. No,
I'm a Super Bowl pick. I stand by that.
You're right, Ryan. They were just feeding everyone. Everyone got fed.
Yeah.
They are really, really good. Enough about what they did on the field. What did we do in the Excel spreadsheet of wonder that AJ has on his computer?
Okay. The biggest idiot of the week award. It's the first time we're awarding it officially. We've all been idiots and currently remain idiots. But this person, these 2 folks are the biggest idiots. Let me start with this. Ryan, well done. 10-4. You ran away with it. You are the smallest idiot.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the second smallest idiot. I was 8-6. And so, Ryan, props. You really outclassed us here. Now to my favorite part, the biggest idiots. Could you not pick more than half the games correctly? We're not even on the spread. This isn't against the spread. This is, you guys were 7-7.
These are for winners.
I don't know what happened.
No, I don't need an explanation now because we'll get one next.
Oh, boy. My favorite segment of the week coming up. I'll take 10-4 all day long, AJ. Thank you very much for that.
I do want to say that we will be coming up, and I'm just informing my co-hosts here now. So everyone, including the listening public, is getting this at the same time. We will be making the biggest idiot of the year do something that we will film and put on YouTube. And this will be a shameful act. We will dishonor our houses and family.
Should I make a trophy?
House and family. I would love. We'll discuss it as a group, but a trophy sounds great.
I have the material required to make a trophy.
We could really go elaborate with a presentation ceremony.
Yeah. Even a jacket to go with it, maybe? Like a blazer?
Jacket. A blazer would be ultra class.
I say we go to I say we go to Goodwill and really dig.
I'm in. I'm in on that.
There will be a photo shoot and an awards ceremony. I think it's going to look a lot like King Joffrey's wedding from Game of Thrones.
I need to rewatch that episode.
But based in shame.
Of course. I feel good about my chances to not be the biggest idiot of the year right now. But we got a lot of season left.
We do. A lot of chance for us to improve or get worse and and go into like a tailspin, which would be great.
Let's stay positive, though, guys.
Yeah.
Nah.
We all committed crimes this week, AJ. We all committed crimes.
What time is it, Ryan?
It is time to answer for our sins.
Woo! Okay. All right. So, who wants it first?
I'll take it. Let's go.
Okay, Colt, perfect. The Texans. Buddy.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got for me?
Oh, man. I don't think I was as privy to the weather being as bad and windy as it was going to be when we made these picks last week. Had I known that, I probably would have easily selected the Browns in their ground game and the Texans' inability to tackle or stop anyone on the ground. So, yeah, that's my easy out.
That'll do.
In all seriousness, I really did. Deshaun Watson, full of late game heroics. I expected to see a little more, and I think the passing game. I mean, he's so predicated on throwing deep balls to Fuller and Cooks and these big plays, and it just wasn't there because of the weather. And I think they just had a really hard time moving the ball based on what they like to do. So. Yeah,
they really did. It's so concerning and it's confusing that offense can't get it done. I mean, the defense is one thing, but it's 10 points against the Browns.
Yeah. Well, the Texans only put up 7, and they went for it.
7 points. Yeah.
Yeah, they went for it on 4th and goal, and Watson tried to scramble and he got stuffed. I believe Myles Garrett took him down.
It's that silent G is what it is.
Yep, lasagna. But, an egregious pick on my part. Apologies.
Okay, I'm up next, and it's the
AJ.
Chargers. Yeah, it's the Chargers. Whoopsie daisy.
Oh, you thought it was going to be their week?
I think you guys loved the pick. By the way, Colt. Are you Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Why don't you do a couple jumping jacks and 10 half-assed Hail Marys?
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Noted.
Sounds good. Okay, I picked the Chargers because I thought they would break through, and I thought the Dolphins would – I thought that the numbers in front of me would catch up to them. But they remind me a lot of the Raiders, and they just get it done. I probably should have seen that coming in retrospect.
The Raiders is to efficiency?
Yeah, and more so than efficiency, they rise to the occasion.
Okay.
They just rise to the occasion, and the Chargers do the opposite of that.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking too many visits to the training room, AJ. That's what it is.
I don't think they're taking enough visits to the training room.
Well, they would all be on injured reserve if they were going to the veterinarian's office every week.
Let me get that number for Tyrod Taylor's doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think for me, last week I attempted to do a cartwheel. I did it. This week.
Did you pull something?
Nice.
No, I did
That's
fine.
a win. That's a win.
This week, I think I shall attempt on a trampoline a backflip.
Ooh, good for you. I want to come jump on a trampoline too.
Yeah,
right, let me know when you find that.
Will do, absolutely. Jeffrey, how you doing over there, pal? Great. Okay, so the Bills. The Bills, Jeff.
Nope.
Jeff, they lost.
It doesn't matter. Look at the game. You watched the game.
We watched it together.
Yes. It's not a worthy meet for me to have to do something for it. That game was a very close game and a good game, and it came down to one throw. Almost
There
did
it was. There it was.
I almost did it. I didn't say the whole thing. I almost did it. There is
Okay. All right.
no reason I should be paying for that one.
Hey, okay. All right. It's time for some full disclosure and practicing of spiritual principles. Guess what, fellas? You guys aren't the biggest idiots. Clerical error reveals that I am the biggest idiot.
Oh no! What did you do?
Oh my laundry!
Clerical
What
error.
I
did
told you
do?
guys.
Oh man.
Okay, Colt and Jeff got the Lions game. Ryan and I missed the Lions game. That brings both of us down, and we're all a little bit closer. I'm sorry, Ryan. You're still the smallest idiot. I'm the biggest idiot, and Colt and Jeff are very mediocre.
I'm still 2 games ahead. I'm fine with that. With losing 1, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I take the crown. I'm not proud of it,
No,
but I will be back for vengeance next week.
I hold on to it for the week.
So, Ryan, every game you missed, I guess the one is the Washington football team.
Yeah.
What did you see through your terrible vision?
Yeah, my vision is notoriously bad. I'm going to take my glasses off to think about this because I need the same vision that I had when I picked the Washington football team. Did I expect Alex Smith to come out and go 38 of 55 for 390 yards? I did not, sir.
100%.
I did not.
Oh, no? Okay.
I did not. I did, however, expect that football team defense to get after Matthew Stafford a little bit more, despite our pro Stafford nature on this podcast. I expected Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and company to make his life incredibly difficult, and they did nothing of the sort.
Actually, Chase Young is pretty much the reason that they lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. So, pros turned into cons. Things went awry. Kudos to Alex Smith for having himself a day. I hope he continues. But I hope they get more victories to come of it. I really could have used one this past week to keep me out of the penalty box. That's all I've got.
You did fine. So your penance is that when I do find a trampoline, you don't get to come.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's just selfish.
Do better next week.
That's just selfish. All righty. Well, I haven't atoned for my sins yet.
That was your atonement, was the Washington football team, because you chalked it up like crazy.
No, my atonement is to not be able to jump on a trampoline that you haven't found yet. So I can't even atone for my sins until you actually find a trampoline, AJ. Speaking of next week, we have a lot to talk about. Beginning with an electric Thursday night football game on network television out of the best division in the NFL, the NFC West. All 4 of these teams have outscored their opponents throughout the course of the season. 3 of these teams are 6-3, 2 of them facing off tomorrow in Seattle. Cardinals and Seahawks. Kyler versus Russell. This could decide the MVP race, or at least the front runner going down the stretch in the back half of the season. I'm going to pick the Seahawks because the Cardinals got them the last time they played, though I do believe this game is going to be high-flying, high-scoring, a lot of fun, and must-watch television when Kyler and Danger Russell Wilson bring Ciara to the football field, and she's going to dazzle the defenders for the Cardinals with her beauty and their baby and their sex having that they waited until marriage to do. I've got the Seahawks in this one. AJ, your thoughts?
So this, to me, Ryan, I like the idea of of picking. Basically, it's difficult to beat a team twice in a year, and now
I think they're going to split. I really think they're going to split them.
I think most of the time it's a good pick. The numbers don't back that up, though. Arizona's on a roll. I'm going Arizona.
All right. What numbers of which do you speak?
So the defenses, we all know what those
Yikes.
defenses do and do not do. It's been said week after week on this podcast that although the Cardinals are regressing to the mean just a bit, the Seahawks are staying where they're at, and that's terrible.
They are historically bad. To be very fair, I'm not super confident about this Seahawks pick.
No, I'm not super confident about the Cardinals either.
Yeah, I'm going to put an asterisk on this, and we'll talk about.
Oh, you are?
Next
Do you
week.
have the Excel spreadsheet? There will be no asterisk. Okay, just like there will be no asterisk about Notre Dame beating Clemson. Okay.
Fine. We'll see what happens the second time around. AJ, that's a good pick based on solid numbers and not just CR and their child of Russell Wilson and really just gut instinct. Jeff, do you have anything more substantial to add?
Not really. It's just I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going with the Seahawks. I'm very iffy about picking this pick, but I have my gut feeling that Russell is going to pull through from this last two beatdowns that he's had.
He has turned the ball over a lot in the last 3 games. That is something that is concerning to me. But I do like the pick. Thank you, Jeffrey. Colt, give us some insight as to where your mind is wandering as the Cardinals wander up from the desert to the rainy, disgusting streets of Seattle, the mean streets of Seattle. And who could we look at for fantasy football in this game, too?
Oh, man, my mind is wavering and wandering on this pick. I've been looking at injury reports. It's really hard to bet against the Cardinals right now, but I think this is Seattle's get-right game at home. It's worth noting Chris Carson is likely to miss again with the foot injury. Tyler Lockett has as Pete Carroll says, a little bit of a knee sprain. That's a little concerning. Now, look at what these guys did offensively when they played a couple weeks ago. DK Metcalf was shut out by Patrick Peterson.
It was Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, I don't know if it was all Patrick Peterson just straight shutting him out or Russ just not wanting to go there. But I think that's a matchup that Russ is not going to avoid tomorrow night. I don't think he's going to have the luxury of avoiding that. I really love Arizona in this game. But gut spidey senses, it just feels like this is the game where Russ kind of rights the ship. I can't see him playing this bad this many weeks in a row. Neither defense is doing anything really exciting. Arizona is getting pretty decent pressure still. And with Carson being out, Carlos Hyde is fully active. I expect him to start in Carson's stead, thus making him a viable fantasy player. They brought back an old classic retread, Alex Collins, last week. He got a little run, and then they've been splitting reps with Homer and DJ Dallas. But I think Hyde is he's the fantasy sleeper here I'm looking at.
Who was your pick, though?
Oh, Seahawks.
Seahawks, your
he's
pick.
at the
All
Seahawks.
right.
He's good.
All right. Seahawks, your pick. AJ, your opportunity to get one back on the field here for our season rankings. What a great game for Thursday Night Football. For once,
Agreed.
I can't wait.
Thursday Night Football got it right with a matchup. That's going to be a great game when that one rolls around. Let's go up to the lakes, the northeastish region of the country for this game.
Okay.
Cleveland and the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's my Cleveland stat that might break my own brain. You know how many 6-3 teams there are in football right now. I didn't count them all, but it's a lot. Cleveland is the only team in the NFL with a winning record. And they're 6-3. It's not just, barely a winning record. Their opponents are outscoring them this season.
Really?
Cleveland has a minus point differential on the year. It's not really going to matter in this matchup. They've been outscored by 4 touchdowns, minus 28. It's not going to matter a whole lot in this matchup. The Eagles are a mess, and that offense is just hard to watch. They are just putrid. The Eagles coming from a division where all 4 teams are getting outscored by their opponents, and they're leading the division at 3-5-1. Let's go for a 5-9-1 playoff team coming out of the NFC East. They're not going to get one of those final 2 wins this week. I think Cleveland wins. It is supposed to be nasty in Cleveland once again. They're going to run Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt into the muddy ground. I don't know if they have AstroTurf in Cleveland. I'm sure they do at this point. But it's going to be a mess in Cleveland. They're not going to throw it a lot. They're going to rely on that run game. And the Browns are going to get a win over the Eagles. AJ, do you agree?
I do. Despite the fact that the yards per carry is in favor of the Eagles, they actually do a pretty nice job. They are, let's see here. They're 4.4, which is out of the basement, but they give up, which it still isn't great, but it's out of the basement. They've given up 14 touchdowns on the ground, and the yards per game in total, they're 7th from the bottom. So and obviously the Cleveland Browns run the ball well. The weather is going to be absolute garbage, or also known as standard for the Northeast, especially Cleveland. So I'm going to go Cleveland.
All right. And Jeff, your thoughts, Eagles, Browns.
Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, and Kareem Hunt. Browns all day.
I agree. I completely agree. Colt, your pick and your fantasy lookout.
Got to go Browns. And, I think this is a pretty decisive win for Cleveland at home. They have a better defense, and they have a really strong running game. I don't envision Baker having to throw it too much, weather considered as well. Pretty conservative game plan, but, Chubb and Hunt both went over 100 last week. The Eagles have a pretty tough defensive front. A little tough to run against, but with the combination of Chubb and Hunt, I think that'll crack pretty easily. I don't know where the Eagles' offense is going to come from outside of Miles Sanders. Carson Wentz just looks really – they're bordering just as bad to watch as the Chicago Bears.
Oh, buddy, them fighting words.
Yeah. They're teetering. I don't know. If the Bears weren't on bye this week, they might overtake the Bears for worst offense.
Those are them fighting words right there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you off the Wentz train now?
I am. I kind of am. I feel like earlier in the season he had this extra like mojo or bravado where he just straight will, and I'm not even seeing that. I'm seeing sloppiness. I'm seeing kind of apathy, just like the play calls. Like one of the it was maybe 3rd and 10 or something. It was pretty close towards the end of the game, and he threw a pass, like a 3-yard pass, for like not even trying. It wasn't even a screen. I don't know. It's just a lot of what I saw from them on offense didn't make sense at the right time.
Anybody in fantasy outside the real norms in this game in Hunt and Chubb and Sanders?
Outside the real norms in this game, no one's really standing out to me from like a sleeper standpoint. But I would say in this game, start your stud running backs: Chubb, Hunt, Brown. That's the safe play. That's about as much as I would be willing to invest personally in this game, aside from Brown's defense.
Ride the ones who got you there. Moving on to your team, Colt. Saints and Falcons. The Saints without Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. Who's going to start? Probably going to be Jameis. Probably going to throw the ball. Enough.
I got the Saints in this one. They're just a better overall football team. Jameis Winston is not going to throw as many interceptions as he did last year because that is almost statistically impossible, even if Drew Brees is gone for the rest of the year. But I was telling Jeff this morning, if you think about it, Jameis Winston threw for 5,100 yards last season as a starter in Tampa Bay. He threw 33 touchdowns. At times, he looked like a very good NFL quarterback, but he also threw 30 picks. Jameis Winston can get the job done. If you look at what Teddy Bridgewater did, Teddy Bridgewater was a good quarterback in Minnesota, went to New Orleans behind Drew Brees, came in when Brees got hurt last season, played very, very well in that system. I think Sean Payton's going to adjust it to where it really fits Jameis's strengths. And I think the Saints don't just win. They're favored by 5 right now. I think that line's probably going to move a little bit higher than that. And it doesn't matter what it is because I think they're going to cover and they are going to mollywop the Falcons at home in this one. AJ, do you agree?
Looking at this, the Falcons actually stopped the run okay, and the passing defense is not quite as bad as you would think. It's not great, but it's not. I was tempted to. The point is, I was tempted to take the Falcons because they will have the better quarterback on the field, and overall, last year, Jameis Winston was obviously threw a ton of picks. The other thing is he completed 60% of his passes. And the New Orleans Saints right now, despite the fact that Drew Brees has, at least up until very recently, not thrown the ball down the field a whole bunch, they lead the league in completion percentage. Everything that makes that passing offense go is going to have to change based on Winston being the quarterback. Can he do what Drew Brees does? I don't think he can. But like you said, they're just a better team. So I am going to go Saints.
Jeff, your thoughts?
You guys have pretty much covered everything that I was going to say because it's the Saints. And I don't think Matt Ryan's going to perform very well.
Colt, your team. What do you think about Jameis?
I feel good about Jameis. I like the Saints to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I think Matty Ice, he's going to be throwing some TDs. I think it's interesting. Both of these teams are pretty good. The Saints are really good against the run. The Falcons have come on as of late pretty good against the run too. Their secondary is pretty suspect. New Orleans has the better defense and the better offense, so therefore I will go with the Saints and get well soon, Drew. But I think Jameis is I do think Jameis is it was a great signing in the offseason by this team because as much as Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill, it's like his adopted long-lost child or something. I feel like he just wants to like show him off all the time and put him in all these like really random plays and stuff. I mean, I do think that it's funny as well that Peyton has, he's been pretty tight-lipped about who the starter is going to be. We all know who the starter is going to be. But, Jameis had the LASIK eye surgery too, so he can actually see really well now, which also perplexes me. How did he get drafted he went in the first round, right?
He was
numero
a top 5
uno.
pick.
Number
Yes, he
one
was a
pick in the
number
first
overall
round.
pick.
So how
Yeah.
did the team draft a guy number 1 overall that can't even see that well?
Because despite that, he was a monster in college.
He was a monster. I do
His
remember.
first
Like,
game
literally.
against Pitt, his first game against Pitt, he was like 23 of 28 for 300 and something yards and 5 touchdowns. It was unbelievable as a true freshman.
Okay. I didn't know all of those things, but I was just kind of – I feel like all the little knocks these guys get in the draft coming in, like vision wouldn't downgrade him a little bit. But I'm happy we have Jameis as a backup. I think he'll do just fine. He's not going to have the Breeze timing with Michael Thomas and some of those little short out routes and stuff, but I think it'll –
He can stretch it. He can stretch the field better than Breeze right now.
That's what I'm excited about. I want to see that push the ball a little bit. Will Sean Payton open up the offense for Jameis in a way? Maybe not the first game in, maybe a little more conservative, but I got to say, from a fantasy perspective in this game, I'm really warming up to Taysom Hill.
Love Taysom Hill.
Jack of all trades. He throws, he catches, he blocks, he rushes. I mean, I think Peyton's going to get him in quite a few packages, if you will, on the goal line, especially. And I'm thinking he's a dark horse fantasy play this week.
All right. Colt loves Taysom Hill's package. Moving on.
That's not what I
Bengals
said.
and football team. Couple of 2-win teams. Somebody's going to get their third. This one actually could turn into a pretty good football game at 1 o'clock on Sunday in that early window. I am going to stick with the Alex Smith train. I think Washington gets their third win of the season, stays right in the thick of the playoff race there in the NFC East. It could either be a fun game to watch or just an absolutely brutal game to watch in our nation's capital. But I'm going football team in this one. AJ, do you have any belief in Joe Burrow?
I do, but we're going based on the previous. If you look at the previous game, Matt Stafford, right? So these teams are relatively similar. It's not a great defense. The offense doesn't protect very well. That sounds eerily similar to the Cincinnati Bengals. The biggest difference is it's Joe Burrow and it's Matty Snapback, who we love.
We do.
And Matty Snapback is a more seasoned and just a better quarterback right now. And he was pretty much, outside of Chase Young being an idiot for a second, he is pretty much the reason. DeAndre Swift had himself a game, but I'd say Matty Snapback essentially put that team on his back. Joe Burrow is less likely to do that. Plus, the line is 1.5 in favor of the Washington football team. So I am going to go with the artist formerly known as the Skins.
All right, Jeff, what are your thoughts? Do the Bengals get their third win, or do the football team stay in the playoff hunt?
I think the football team with the comeback player of the year are going to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Alex Smith get a win after 2+ years of not being able to play football, barely being able to walk, almost dying. That would be a great story.
Yeah.
Colt, are you sticking with the story, or are you going to go Joe Burrow?
I think I'm gonna I'm gonna zag. I'm gonna zag here. I'm gonna take Cincinnati.
I love that.
Yeah. As much as I really want to see Alex Smith get his first win, and I think it is very possible, I feel like Cincinnati, they just got shellacked by Pittsburgh last week. The chemistry with Burrow and T. Higgins is one thing that stands out to me. It's unknown if we're going to see Joe Mixon again this week. Gio plugs in pretty well in his absence. Mixon did not practice today. I do like both running backs on Washington, and Terry McLaurin. I think he's going to have a day as well. This is a close game, man, but I think Burrow's going to be slinging it, reeling after just getting crushed last week. I think this could be a good situation for Cincinnati to bounce back.
I love that pick. This is another one of those picks this week that I'm just not so sure about.
I'm really not. This is really up in the air. From a fantasy perspective in this game, and J.D. McKissick, the guy had 15 targets last week, 14 the week before. Alex Smith loves to check down to the running back. But a lot of that's game script because McKissick did a lot of his damage in the first half when they were down by, 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
But Antonio Gibson still had value too. So I think you can plug either one of those guys in with confidence. As well as T. Higgins. I truly believe he has usurped A.J. Green, as if I don't think it was ever really a big controversy. But Green's kind of an afterthought in the offense now. It's the changing of the guard. Higgins is the one.
A.J. Green is getting older. He's perpetually banged up. Had a great career.
Didn't even have a
off
catch
into the
last week.
sunset. Yeah.
Yep. It's Higgins'
Another
time to shine.
game. This whole week seems to be a lot of coin flip games, at least for me. This next one is another one. The Detroit Rock City Lions against Carolina Panthers in Charlotte. 4-5 Lions, 3-7 Panthers. Matt Stafford did partially tear something in his throwing hand, but he's not listed on the injury report, so it's looking like he's still going to try to play. But Carolina is one of those teams that if they don't shoot themselves in the foot, they're going to be in just about every game they play. I know they got doubled up last week against Tampa Bay, 46-23, but I think I am going to pick the Lions, but I'm not confident in that whatsoever. I can envision a scenario where Teddy Two Gloves gets a little slippery out there and throws one high in the wrong situation into coverage, and the Lions get an interception, maybe a turnover with a fumble, and they beat the Panthers. But I also envision a scenario where the Panthers don't make any mistakes and they win by 4. But I am picking the Lions. AJ.
So I'm looking at basically how the Carolina Panthers managed to get 3 wins and play some of their losses actually pretty close. The numbers, It's like the opposite of the Raiders. None of the numbers support this. They get no pressure on the quarterback. They don't intercept the ball. Actually, straight up, their yardage totals on defense, yards per game, quarterback rating even, and yards per carry, not great. None of them are good. And on offense, everything is pretty middling. How they're doing what they're doing, I'm not sure. I went down to third down percentage. They're not great. They're at 41.4%, which puts them near the bottom at 20th, which is not really great.
They gave up a ton of third down conversions to the Bucs last week.
Yeah, and I don't really understand what they're doing that's kept them competitive outside of being 3-7. I'm going to go best quarterback on the field. There is no line for this game, as per ESPN, by the way.
Agreed. I saw that.
So I'm going to go Lions. Matty Snapback is the best quarterback on the field.
Jeff, your thoughts? Do you have a definite answer on this game? Show us the way.
There ain't no way I'm showing anybody the way. This is one of those, like you said, flip of the coin. But I think I'm going to zigzag away from what you two have picked, and I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. I feel like this is going to be a win for them.
They're due. I mean, they've got a lot of really close losses on the year, and eventually they're going to pop one for a win, right?
I feel like maybe this is one of them. I could be wrong, but that's who I feel is going to win that game. Is the Panthers.
Yeah, I think we should all agree to call this episode Week 11. We're all wishy-washy on all of our picks. Colt, are you wishy-washy or are you clean as a whistle?
I feel pretty clean on this one, but it's a little contingent on a couple of things. Is Bridgewater going to play? He got in a limited practice today. I'm leaning towards that he does play. If not, the XFL phenom, will he take his place?
PJ Walker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he should be next in line. Either way, also DeAndre Swift, incredible game last week, and I hope the Lions don't screw around and mix in a bunch of snaps. And I'd like to see them consolidate the work around Swift again. And Carolina is really beatable on the ground. Their secondary's been playing pretty well. I like the Panthers to bounce back here. I really do. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it might even come down to like a missed Matt Prater 58-yarder.
That doesn't happen, Colt. That doesn't happen.
And a Teddy two-glove screen pass to DJ Moore. I don't know.
I wouldn't hate that.
I do like the Panthers just slightly more. Stafford, love Matty Snapback, as we all do. I'm a little concerned about the hand. I mean, look what Gardner Minshew's throwing hand did to him. Now, Matty Snapback is a legend here compared to Gardner Minshew. And he's played through a broken back, a separated shoulder, you name it. You know, the guy, he toughs it out. He wins. I do think it could be a little bit of an issue. Oh, also to mention, Galladay is practicing today for the first time in a while, too. So he could have his full complement of receivers. Hakowski is a little dinged up with the toe, too. I don't know. Fantasy-wise, in this game, I'm looking at – I was going to say Galladay if he's back, but I don't trust it first week back. I say Mike Davis. I think Mike Davis is going to have a sneaky good game. He's lost a little bit of juice these last couple of weeks where he filled in for McCaffrey exclusively. Those first 3 or 4 weeks when McCaffrey was out, you could barely tell a drop-off in productivity. I like Mike Davis. Detroit is very beatable on the ground, too. This is in Carolina.
Good pick. Good pick. We don't really have to talk about this next one very long. Steelers, right, everybody?
I think this might be the game. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you do it.
Chalk on the Steelers. Titans, Ravens could be a good one. A couple of 6-3 football teams. Baltimore is actually favored by 6.5 at home in Baltimore after that showing the Titans put out against the Colts. That's not good, and Baltimore absolutely trashed Indianapolis. I'm going to ride Baltimore with that running game, and Lamar Jackson's got to figure out how to not turn the football over. He's had a little bit of the giveaways here this season. Really hurt that offense. They've got to become a little more multifaceted in their passing game as well, and figure out how to get a couple of their playmakers involved and not rely so heavily on that run game. But I do think that they're just a better roster than the Titans right now, and I think Baltimore comes away with the win. AJ, you staying in division or you going to the former division?
I'm going Ravens, simply. So the Titans get no pressure on the quarterback, almost at all. They are dead last in sack percentage at 2.9. Again, Steelers get pressure at 10.5. 10.5% of dropbacks end in sacks for the Steelers, 1 in 10. The Panthers are dead last at 2.9. They actually intercept the ball at a decent clip. They're in the top 10 in interception percentage. But it's Ravens. They're just how they're 6-3 is sort of baffling. I think it is due some to the weather. I'm worried about Lamar Jackson's fumbling problems. Hopefully that gets addressed somewhat this week as much as it can. I'm going Ravens as well.
Jeff, are you going to ride Lamar Jackson in fantasy? Are you sticking to your favorite player in the history of football, Tom Brady?
I'm going to go Ravens on this game, and I don't know if I'm going to start Lamar over Tom, but I still like the Ravens over the Titans any day.
Colt, your thoughts?
I'm going Ravens as well. Better team. I like the stat AJ mentioned about the lack of pass rush for Tennessee. Yeah, they just do not get there. I think Lamar Jackson on his own, just on the ground, is going to slice these guys up. The Ravens defense looked really bad last week too. Now, granted, that was a torrential monsoon that game was played in. You know, I guess we can't get a lot of key takeaways on both sides of the ball there, but I look for the Ravens defense to bounce back. It's at home in Baltimore. I know home field advantage doesn't mean quite the same thing this year as it typically does, but I still like the Ravens at home. And
who's going to jump off the page?
jump off the page fantasy-wise, well, low-key, Willie Snead's been really good. For all of Hollywood Browns social media whinings and whatnot to get your playmakers the ball, he hasn't really gotten the ball much. Willie Snead had 2 touchdowns last week. At Pittsburgh, Week 8, he had 106 yards, and it's very, very sporadic, very hit or miss play. But I don't know if I'd have the gumption to roll Willie Snead out into the starting lineup. But I would trust Corey Davis this week.
I look for trust Corey Davis.
Yes, and I look for a lot of coverage on A.J. Brown. I look for bracket coverage on A.J. Brown.
Good play for Corey Davis then. Maybe a little Jonnu Smith action from the tight end position. Congratulations to AJ for not mentioning that Jarrell Casey is the Titans' biggest deficit for the season for the last couple of weeks. Good for you, bud. Moving on to the next game. Patriots and Texans. This one, I mean, it feels like it should be an easy Patriots roll, but this is a bad Patriots football team that still somehow managed to be 4-5 on the season. I don't have a whole lot to add about this game. I think the Patriots are going to win, but it's not going to be pretty. If I was stuck watching this game, I would turn the television off and go stand in the cold in my underwear.
I'd stand with you. Yeah.
Yeah. AJ, your thoughts?
Like I said, I'd stand with you. This is going to be a super boring game, very likely. The Texans are the worst in the NFL in passer rating against at 109. They are terrible in the secondary. And they are not too much better on the ground. They've given up 12 touchdowns on the ground, which puts them darn near the bottom. It puts them tied for 24th. They actually give up 4.4 or 5.2 yards per carry as well, which is dead last. So they are dead last in quarterback rating against and yards per carry against. They can't stop anybody. That said, quarterback rating 4, somehow they've managed to keep at 6th at 106.7. So Deshaun Watson is still doing work, but they just scored 7 points against the Cleveland Browns. Again, in Brownsville, the weather was as it normally is. If there's a game that Cam Newton gets going through the air, this is it. I have to go Patriots, but I am in no way confident about this.
Jeff, are you more confident, or are you gonna slander the Patriots right here on live podcasting television?
I'm not going to do any slandering this week. Actually, I'm going to pick them.
Okay.
You seem really excited about having to do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not at all. I genuinely hate them, so no. But they're the better pick over the Texans.
That's 3 for the Patriots. Coach, you're going to make it a clean 4?
I'm pretty close to it. And the main reason is Houston's allowing 167.4 yards on the ground this year, most in the NFL.
Yikes.
What do the Patriots want to do? They want to protect Cam Newton's inefficiencies, and they want to run the ball. I'm not sure if Sony Michel will be back in this game. I'm not sure if it even matters. They have Damian Harris and a plethora of other backs that do a lot of little things really well too. I think Belichick has if I'm not mistaken, he kind of owns the Texans when they play. I feel like he game plans for Deshaun Watson pretty well. What I saw from the defense last week, I'm inclined to pick the Patriots, and that's who I'm gonna go with. Pats. After a little consternation.
I like the pick.
All right, Dolphins, Broncos. The Dolphins don't do anything well statistically on offense, but they just keep winning on the strength of that defense. Tua has been, fine, good, whatever. He's been a rookie starting quarterback that has won football games so far in his very brief career. I do like that Dolphins defense, though, to absolutely brutalize the Broncos offense. And Drew Lock is going to have his stupid face all over the big screen throwing picks in this game.
Smirking.
It's a stupid smirk, too.
It
Just
is,
a very
it is.
punchable face
What a
on
twerp.
Drew Lock. Yes. What a word. What a word is twerp. I got Dolphins in this one. They're going to move to 7-3 and really take control of that division in the NFC East. AJ?
So I'm trying to pick the Denver Broncos. I'm trying to do it, and they're making it very difficult.
AJ's stats can tell you whatever you want them to tell you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I am going Dolphins because they're inexplicable, and I think they will remain inexplicable. The defense is actually really, really good against the pass, which makes total sense because of the personnel that they have there. And it drew, no matter who plays quarterback, the quarterback room for the Denver Broncos is just bad. And I think that pass defense, I think Tua takes another step this week. And I think that the Denver Broncos will have to pass the ball to win this game, and they will not, and they will not.
There you go. Jeff, your thoughts?
I have no thoughts. I'm going with the Dolphins.
Moving on. Colt.
I relate.
I'm going Dolphins in this game, too. They're playing pretty complete football, special teams, defense, offense. Tua, I think, has looked really well. He looks a little Russell Wilson-esque back there with some of that escapability.
He can move around.
He runs to throw, too, which reminds me of Russ. He doesn't typically, scramble and dart like Kyler. I definitely like the Dolphins in this game. The Broncos, man, they're top three or bottom three, if you will, of offenses that are most painful to watch with the Bears. And who else did I say earlier? Eagles. They're falling. Yeah, they're falling into that bottom three category too. Yeah, if it's Drew Lock, he's suffering with rib injury and whatnot. I don't know. I don't really think it could. You could argue it's an upgrade to have Brett Rippon throwing the ball versus Drew Lock. Man, he'll sit on the sideline and sulk and be a twerp, and they'll still get crushed.
Got a lot of twerps and stupid faces on that team.
I can't help it, man. It's just the epitome of that word is what, if I could write it. I know. If I could write a dictionary, I would put his face by that word. It's just, it resonates.
You can write a dictionary, Colt. Don't sell yourself short.
I just might one day, man. Read enough thesauruses, I might get there.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Next game, Jets and Chargers. Justin Herbert decided his long, beautiful, flowing locks weren't getting the job done. He shaved his head. It's not good, folks. It's not good. I'll put it up on our Twitter feed. I'll put it on our Twitter page, Colt. It is an unfortunate haircut. Hopefully he has a fortunate game because he may throw for 400 yards in this game. The Jets are just awful.
Are they going to wear the mustard pants, though?
I hope they wear the mustard pants.
Okay. Buzz cut, Herbert, mustard pants.
Definite win for the Chargers.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
AJ, your thoughts?
I think this is tailor-made for Justin Herbert to get a well-deserved win.
Yes.
And I'm going to go Chargers. It's pretty much the long and short of it.
Jeff?
Yeah, I think this is a well-deserved win coming for Justin Herbert. Going Chargers.
Are we going chalk on Chargers, Colt?
Yeah, I'm going herbivore. He's going to crush. I just hope he doesn't crush my fantasy team too hard.
Can we say something nice about the Jets?
No.
You can. You can.
I love their black uniforms. I'm just going to say that over and over each and every week until they win, if that happens. So I may be saying that forever.
Yeah.
Our next game on the schedule, Packers and Colts. The last time the Packers played at Lucas Oil Stadium, it was a great game. I believe it was 28-17, but I'm not positive. It was the first Colts game I ever got to cover at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Colts ended up winning. It was the first Chuck Strong game after Chuck Pagano announced he had cancer. The Colts won that football game, and I don't think they're going to win this one. I think Green Bay comes in. Aaron Rodgers is going to come in and torch that defense. And I think the Colts figuring out a little bit of offense against the Titans was a bit of a fluke. I need to see some more consistency out of that Colts offense. And I just got a feeling Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are on a mission this season. AJ?
So the Colts have arguably the best defense in football.
Yes, they do.
Points per game, they're top 5. They are number 1 in passer rating against, and again they're giving up 3.5 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns on the ground this year. That puts them 3rd. That said, this is Aaron Rodgers' game to win or lose. It's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers, and unlike the Buccaneers game, there is not a Tom Brady. Phillip Rivers does not equal Tom Brady, so I'm going Packers as well.
Jeff, your thoughts? A rapidly fading Jeff.
No, I'm still here. But no, I'm gonna completely go against what both of you have picked. I'm gonna go with good old Uncle Phil, and I like what they've been doing for the last few weeks. And again, the defense is phenomenal. So I'm gonna go with good old Uncle Phil and the Colts.
I like
it,
that
Jeff.
pick.
I do too.
really like that pick. Colt, do you agree with your namesake?
No, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to stick with Rodgers on this one. Indy's defense is incredible. I do think Rodgers is capable of overcoming it, though. He also gets Lazard back this week, the Lazard King, as some have dubbed him. Not to be confused with the Lizard King, who's Sammy Watkins. But yeah, I think this is going to be a tough game for Green Bay in the Dome. But I think the Packers can pull this one out.
Fast track is Lucas Oil Stadium.
It is, and also
with the roof closed.
Fantasy. Watch out for Michael Pittman Jr. Breakout game last week. I look for him to continue to ascend as Rivers' top target in the receiver corps.
I like it.
What about Hines?
Naheem Hines has had himself a good year.
Hines is a great player, and he's a high upside flex in my mind. I'm really confused. I'm seeing a lot of inconsistency with how the running backs are used. Frank Wright is basically said it's going to be a hot hand approach. So the Packers are a very generous run defense. They give up quite a bit on the ground, as James Robinson just torched them last week. It's just hard to trust which one it'll be.
Love it. The Cowboys and Garrett Gilbert have had a week off trying to figure out a way to get another win down in Big D. Unfortunately, they're not in Big D. They're in Minneapolis. Do the Cowboys go up to the north and get a win in Minnesota? I still say no. That defense, that a week off is not going to fix that defense, especially the run game. Dalvin Cook has the potential to break the NFL single game rushing record in this football game. I just think the Cowboys are a mess. They're riding this season out, hoping for a high draft pick, They may win 1 or 2 coming down the stretch and finish with 4 wins, but I don't see very many coming down the pipeline, especially not this week against a Minnesota team that is looking pretty good, and especially at home. I've got the Vikings. AJ.
Yeah, I'm going to go Vikings for very similar reasons. The Cowboys defense is just bad. I don't even know if it bears going over the stats. So yeah, I think Dalvin Cook may further cement himself in the NFL record book. So easily Vikings. The spread's also 7.
Big for the NFL. Jeff, do you agree?
Just not swinging away from whatever you guys are saying. I'm going with the Vikings.
The mighty North. Colt, your thoughts? Did the Cowboys finally pull one off? Garrett Gilbert, gonna have him a day?
Well, I think Andy Dalton's back. I think he will
Andy
be back.
Dalton may be back after off of concussion protocol.
Yeah, and he had COVID as well.
He did have the COVID.
Yeah, he's not on the injury report. I think Dalton's going to start, which
Red Rocket me.
could be a downgrade depending on who you talk to. I definitely like the Vikings in this one at home. The Cowboys are very beatable on the ground. Dalvin Cook, I don't have like a wonderful metaphor necessarily, but he's going to be an Iron Chef this week. Let's put it that way.
Buddy,
he would beat Bobby Flay for sure. He just put him. Yeah. Throw technique out the window, right? Let's throw these sophisticated, fancy cooking procedures out the window, and let's just sear, man. Let's saute.
Put it on the grill.
Throw it on the grill, Guy Fieri style. He's gonna just truck this linebacker core. And Minnesota's defense has been coming on a little bit lately too. They played really well last week, and the week before they played pretty good too. So I'm a believer.
All right. I've been told to brace ourselves for this one, but I am picking the Chiefs going to Las Vegas. They're going to stay focused. Maybe play a little golf out there in Vegas. Beautiful time of the year out there. They're going to go in there, and they're going to even the season series up with the Raiders. The Chiefs are going to get their 9th win of the season against Oakland. I just think they've got too much. The Raiders embarrassed them at home, and I just think Kansas City is going to be on a mission in this game to win. AJ?
I hate doing this because I love the Raiders this year. And this is going to be a fabulous game, I think. Just the implications. I'm excited for this game, whether it's going to be good or not. But the Chiefs are giving up the 6th least points per game at 20.3. The biggest concern I have is Josh Jacobs versus that defense. The Chiefs are 28th in yards per attempt against. That said, they've only given up 9 touchdowns. I have to go Chiefs based solely on the fact that they're the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes.
There you go. Jeff, your Raiders pulled off a miracle victory at Arrowhead. Do they do it again in Vegas?
No.
Oh.
I'm going Chiefs. I don't see us beating them 2 times in a row.
How much did that hurt?
It may be a good. Doesn't hurt at all. It may be a good game, but I don't think I don't see us beating the Chiefs the second time.
It's a big man right there. That's a big man. Colt, what do you think?
I'm going Chiefs too, man. Off the bye week, I think it's going to be a really close, a really great game. I think the Raiders are they're going to put up quite a fight, but I don't think they have enough to beat the Chiefs. Not this week. I've been really impressed, like AJ said, with the Raiders this year. Exceeded all my expectations and then some. But I got to stick to the Chiefs here. Also worth mentioning, Josh Jacobs is having a fantastic year. He had a wonderful game last week. However, Devontae Booker has proven to be the handcuff to Josh Jacobs. And he had a really good game last week. I believe he had 81 yards, 2 TDs. The week before, he had a touchdown and 60, 70 yards, something like that. So he's getting a bit of run too. And I think they want to keep Jacobs healthy and manage his workload. So sleeper play. I don't know. We'll see what the game flow and score indicates as much to how the Raiders have the availability to run the ball as they want to. But I think that's going to be a big part of it is time management on Gruden's side, controlling the clock, keeping old Patty Mahomes off the field. I think that's, part of a recipe to beat them. But I like the Chiefs.
All right. Chalk on the Chiefs on that one. Final game of the week, Rams and Buccaneers in Tampa. The Rams traditionally don't travel east very well, but this is a Monday night kickoff. They don't really have to deal with it feeling like 9 a.m. to them. At least it's going to be an afternoon game, at least in the brains of the Rams and their sleep schedule and their circadian rhythms and whatnot. That Buccaneers defense has looked relatively porous the last couple of weeks. And,
It has.
I don't know if the Rams can continue to score points. There's still, to me, one of those prove it teams at 6-3 where they have to prove that they can do it consistently. And Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski on Monday night under the bright lights. I don't see them fading again like they did against the Saints when they just got lambasted a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to pick the Bucs in this one, getting their 8th win. AJ, do you agree? Do you think Sean McVay is going to take his shirt off in the middle of the game and go jump in the swimming pool at Raymond James Stadium?
No. Is there a precedent for that?
No, there is not.
Okay. Then the answer is no there. So for as vaunted as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is, the Rams at this point in the season are right up there with them. Especially the sack percentage, the Rams, 4th, actually above the Buccaneers. Yards per play, the Rams are 2nd at 4.8. Buccaneers are 3rd at 4.9. The biggest discrepancy is run defense. The Buccaneers are still 1st at 3.3 yards per carry, with the Rams being a well above average 11th at 4.1. I just think the offense for the Buccaneers is more potent, more powerful. They score the 6th most amount of points at 29.6 per game. And the Rams a little below average at 18th with 24 points per game. Points per game. I got to go Buccaneers just because it is not only that, I'm starting to give a little more credence to home field advantage just based on the comfortability with these teams staying with their schedule and not having to travel, which is probably a nightmare right now, even with the special accommodations they get. I'm going to go Buccaneers and the Fighting Brady's.
Excellent. Jeff, do you agree? Are you going 3 Buccaneers in a row?
Yes.
Brevity is a strong suit. Colt, your thoughts?
This is a tough call because I really like the Rams defense. And like you said, Ryan, I feel like the Rams are still a proven team to me offensively. I don't really like Goff in this game. And I think he's going to struggle a lot. So also to the point AJ made, I feel like Tampa Bay just has a better offense. The Rams have a great receiving core, and they're mixing in all 3 of their running backs. Rookie Cam Akers, he got a little run last week, but I think the Bucs are a more complete team. If this was in LA, I might lean the Rams because, traveling cross country, it's It's a little bit of a feat, especially in these times of the COVIDs. So I'm going to stick with the home team, Tampa Bay, and keep my eye on Josh Reynolds. He's heating up.
Is he going to get the fiery ball like an NBA Jam back in the day?
He might if he does good again this game. I think it's full on. He's on fire mode. Yeah,
it's fireball time. I love
Yeah.
it. All right, gentlemen, that's the end of our picks. We'll see how it all hashes out next week. Can we make up some ground and one of us not lose the biggest idiot of the year award and potential trophy that we shall discuss at a later date? Thanks for listening to the Shall We Football podcast, because when the question is, shall we football? The answer is always, gentlemen.
You know it.
Yes. Yes.
That was a beautiful chorus of yeses. Don't forget to tell your friends, tell your family, tell your girlfriend, tell that old lady at the grocery store. You can always find us on all major podcast platforms. Like and subscribe, unlike, resubscribe, whatever you want to do to us on the Shall We Football Podcast YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at SWF_podcast. That's where you can find us. You can find us right back here next week. Good night.